All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. Today we are going to take a look at stick draw, which to me was one of the original and most simple RPO theories out there. And I just want to take a look at why I think I've kind of seen it disappear a little bit or get put on the back burner. Make sure you take a look at some of our partners, GameStrat, sideline replay company we use at Bishop Kenny High School. I've used them for the last 5 or 6 years. If you're looking for highly reliable, highly affordable with great customer service, check out GameStrat. Tome Headwear, which is a hat company we use at Bishop Kenny High School, Play Fast Football. If you're looking for custom hats, things that you can build yourself, you can design your own hat. You can change the panels, the colors, the logo, embroidery, the enclosures on the back, snapback, Velcro, fitted, whatever you want. You can change the bill on the front. You can get it Versa, flat, all right, traditional. You can change all those things, completely customizable. Every hat has a story. Check out Dome. Baker Sporting Goods, the company we use for sideline gear, coaches gear, practice gear, player spirit packs. Our uniforms are distributed from them, and we do some team stores with them for teachers, fans. It's basically a one-stop shop for your entire program. JustPlay, which is the playbook software we use. We use it for our installs. We use it for our meetings, some presentation. We use their presentation mode in a lot of our offense-defense team meetings. I use it for my Patreon site. I use it anytime I'm going to speak at clinics. It is the best play drawing tool on the market. DifferenceUSA, ultimate striking machine. Get thousands of reps without needing a partner. You don't have to worry about teaching somebody how to hold a bag. You don't need to worry about having multiple guys in the drill so somebody can hold a bag, how you rotate. Pad is on your racks in your weight room. One guy's up striking. You're getting all the work you need done. Striking, elbows in, thumbs up. Practicing, being violent, striking people. 21 people on the field on any given play might have to strike somebody, so why not work on it in the offseason? Check out DifferenceUSA. All right, so, you know, the original to me, I know when you study RPO football and you go back to what people were doing 15, 20, 25 years ago, you're always going to be able to pull up clips and go, hey, I think they were doing this back then. I think this goes back as far as this. And everybody wants to kind of pin the first guy to say who did it first, who was the first one. You know, to me, I don't really know exactly where it started. I don't know exactly who is the godfather of the RPO. But what I do know is one of the very first ones I always saw was stick draw. All right, and it was the most simplest RPO coming off the simple stick theory. All right, and basically it started off in 3x1. And what it did was it played off the alignment of the defense based on their 3x1 checks, right? So do they have to bar the backside safety? Are they trying to play their standard deal where they're playing poach or stress or solo, where they want to play palms on this side? All right, take the backside safety to play 3 vertical. Do they want to try and keep 6 guys in the box? All right, so when you looked at the leverage of the play as it first started out, okay, 1 was always mandatory outside release. 2 was usually running bubble or some type of flat route. 3 was your stick player, right? And there's several different ways to run the stick. The most successful way we ever did it, we kind of just ran it as a hitch route and then work your way away from whatever the inside presence is, if it's a Mike linebacker, whoever it may be. So when it started off with either inside zone or some type of fold scheme, right? Where if you had the A shade to the side of the stick, you could run a little fold where you block the center back, you fold it up. But basically, it was the most simplest of RPOs, right? It was trying to get 5-on-5 in the box, right? So what's the theory? We have 5 blockers, we can block 5 guys. What are they doing with 6? What are they doing with 7? The backside always had some type of access built in because now stick draw became the easiest tempo play in the world. You had multiple answers that you could carry. All right, you could change the run scheme up. This could be a zone lock scheme. This could be a little fold scheme. All right, you know, there's a possibility depending on the front, you might be able to tackle wrap, isolate it as long as you can block the backside because you're not going to want to unchain the 5 technique when you are throwing the ball, in my opinion, on RPOs. Right, so this preyed on everything that gave the defense issues. Do we want to keep 6 in the box? What are we going to do to the 3 receiver side? If we play our base concept and the Sam is swing deep a 3 and he's got an apex 2 and 3, he's outside the stick route. If the Mike is inside the stick route, how far does he want to expand to play the stick route? Can the Mike expand to play the stick route if we are giving him run action in the box, if it's a 6-man box theory and they're trying to stop the run? What are they doing with the backside safety? Where are they using him? Where are they trying to pull him, all right, to get him involved to the front side. If they're using him to the front side, do we have one-on-one back to the single, right? So it had all its answers built in. If you got man or man free, this could have turned into an outside go ball, right? I've seen it in different ways where maybe you could change the concept and you might be able to run it with inside slot fade. All right, so I've seen it a bunch of different ways, but to me it was the original simple RPO. And again, I think it was the way I kind of view things. It was back in a time where that was really all that people knew about RPOs at the time. As soon as people started figuring out that we can combine all these runs with different routes, and then we can start to throw routes a little bit further down the field, I think the evolution of all these RPOs kind of killed the original RPO. Right? So this original RPO that everybody was carrying, it was simple. It was, we were doing it in 3x1, and it was very simple to set up, and we had the stick concept. All right, and we had everything that we wanted, and we had access to the single, and we had the numbers we were trying to get in the box with the run game, right? So from there, you know, it kind of evolved because you can do it from almost anything. The good teams with quarterback runs got it to where it kind of evolved to 2x2 push motion. All right, because you can use your quarterback as a run player. So it evolved to where you get to 2x2 push motion. All right, if they're too high and they're going to give us, all right, that 5-man quasi 7-man box, right? So they're going to give us that 2-high structure. They're going to give us that 5-man, 7-man box. Now we can go, there's the vert, there's the stick, the push motion now replace the flat route, right? So it's still the same. 1, he takes 2, that's number 3. All right, and now you can block the box however you want to block it. All right, so again, if you wanted to run the fold scheme, if you were base there and you fold up on the Mike linebacker, all right, now your quarterback becomes the runner. Well, now what we've got the ability to do on the backside with 2 receivers, we could access this if we wanted with routes, or we could just throw simple stand-ups, all right, where now we're going to put the pressure on the will linebacker. Where does he want to be? All right, if he's walked out to where he can handle some of the stand-up screens, well, then we feel like we should be able to run in the box. If he takes himself or tucks himself back in the box, then we feel like we need to win back to the side where he's not apex anymore, because if he's not apex, the coverage is probably different. Now, into the boundary, I think you can get away with it, but if you're going to tuck the will tighter to the box, you're probably going to change your cover structure out there. So now we can tag the backside with route beaters to that coverage structure. All right, but it's the same play. 5 on 5, okay? Creating a different box. Now we're creating the 4-1 box that we want. Getting 5 on 5. Putting all the pressure on the Sam because he's swing deep, right? So if he's swing deep and that back pushes, and we always run this with push motion pre-snap. If he pushes, he probably has to widen. If he widens past the stick, what are they going to do, all right, to handle the stick route, right? So we've got him in a position in their base defense where we've got the simplest reads. Quarterback's a good runner, right? We want the ball in his hands. These are all throws that he can make. All right, so it was very simple to say, all right, look, set it up, reading off the leverage of the Sam. We'll coach the Sam's inside the stick. Okay, well, when we push motion, if the Sam stays inside the stick, throw the flare. If the Sam is wider than the stick, throw the stick. If the Mike pushes to play the stick, run the ball. Okay, and then off of these same theories, there were some PPOs built in where you could throw double slant, you could throw fin shave, you could throw whatever you wanted on the backside. We used to throw some screens off this to the backside, working off a Mike push, right? But it all came off the same premise. Very simple premise, all right? Your stick route, or almost to me, almost your 5-yard hitch route, and then find open grass, pushing the flat. What are we doing? Again, east-west leverage on the Sam linebacker. How does he want to play those routes? All right, and then how do they handle the inside part, which is the stick route? All right, so then the other presentation was for us all the time because it kept similar boxes. We would do it in 2-back, split back. Right, so we would get into 2-back and we would do it where it would be the same theory. All right, so you get it into 2-back, and now most of the time when we got 2-back, we would see 6-man boxes, especially versus even front teams. Right, so now we'd get into 2-back. Okay, and now again, depending on however you want to block. Today we're kind of talking about the fold scheme, so we'll stay with that. There's your stick route. There's your mandatory outside release. There's your push flare. There's your inside zone player. There's your access player. Right? So now in the tempo world, you got everything built in. You've got access to the single. What are they trying to do to the backside? Are they going to stay with that weak safety down to the backside? Take away the access? All right, then they can only handle the front side so many ways when we push. If they are a rotational team, to where every time we push motion, they bring a safety down. Well, he's going to have to rotate back to the middle. Now the ball goes back there. Right? So now you build the ball in to go back there to where you can dial it up that way. When our quarterback was a really good runner, all right, there were years where we turned this into an isolation theory. And we ran the same stick draw theory, okay, and then we isolated a back on the mic, okay, and then now we've got 6-on-6, push flare. What does the Sam do? Does the mic leave? That would be an easy indication for the quarterback to run the ball. How do they handle the leverage of that? If they rotate to it, the ball's got to be backside, right? So it was so easy to change the personnel, change the presentation of the stick draw play, and it was so easy to teach to the quarterback, and you know, it gave you your options. If you got man or you got press, you could win out there. Okay, if you got spins or rotation down to take away the inside part of the stick, the outside part of the flare, well, when they rotate that way, all right, you've got your matchup backside to access. But also, if they rotate that way, now you know when they rotate that way, all right, now you can build your weak side runs off the push motion to where now you can go with runs back the other way, because in the two-back world, you still had that other back there. Or, all right, or in the two-back world, if you had them like both on the same side, right, and you got one of them out there, you still have this back as possibly a lead blocker for the quarterback. So you still have that ISO theory. All right, you might be able to get to counter extra theories where you could run the push motion there, all right, and now you can get into some type of counter extra theory where, or a regular counter theory where you're using a tailback. Okay, so maybe we were back on a 3, all right, we were down on a 1, we were backside to the will there. There's our puller, there's our wrapper, and now it's quarterback counter off the push motion, hinge the B gap for that 5 technique there. So you can build in anything you wanted off it. All right, and to me, this was the simplest RPO. This was the original RPO that I saw people doing all the time. Stick draw, quarterback stick draw, because it was easy. It took advantage of all the things that the defense had to struggle with. How do you want to play 3-by-1? All right, the second adjustment, 3-by-1. At least for us, this is what we see all the time. And it's also what we do. All right, so when teams go to stubby, all right, special, whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it. So teams will go and they'll leave the will right there and they'll bump the mic out. And then now they got the corner, and then the nickel's playing outside of that, the freeze over that. That leaves the weak safety back here to be able to bracket and do all the things he wants to do. All right, so what that gave us was that gave us 5-man boxes. Right, so it gave us 5-man boxes with the stick play. Had to worry about where he was going to be, so we still had to carry access because I got to worry about where he's going to be on the weak side. And now that put us in position. There's your stick, bubble, outside release. All right. Mic under the stick. If the mic's under the stick, we're going to run the ball at the 5-man box. All right? So it built itself into multiple 3-by-1 adjustments. It gave you some answers on the backside of access with if you've got some rotations or 3 deep rotations, because 3 deep rotations or maybe hard cover 2 could give it a little bit of an issue. Hard cover 2, you'd probably get the whole shot over the top. All right? But depending on the leverage of the apex and where he is, they got a flat player for the bubble. If they can hold somebody on the stick and now the safety's over the top of that, all right, that possibly could take it away. But it preyed on all the weaknesses of the defense. We were putting 2 guys, all right, in positions to leverage the Sam linebacker. We were forcing the Mike linebacker to push out to cover that. All right, we were getting a vertical mandatory out with outside release over the top to stretch the coverage and eat up all the high players there so that they couldn't get an extra guy down. Because if they only have X amount of players underneath, and we are putting players in spaces that they have to cover, but we're also attacking their run fits, to me, that is everything that an RPO is, right? So for what I've looked at the last 6, 7, 8 years that we've lived in the RPO world, the RPOs got so advanced, and all the routes that you could throw, and the single side glances, and all the pipe routes, and balls that were getting thrown down the field. as people started getting better at RPOs and people started coming up with different run schemes and passing combinations that they could tie together, what ended up happening, in my opinion, was the stick draw play kind of went away. So the original base play that kind of, for me, at least in my world, started it all, where I first saw it and said, hey, this is pretty cool, all right, and started kind of the whole RPO theory for me, ended up going away because it got us, in my opinion, got us to where we needed to be in the RPO world, gave us a simple RPO that quarterbacks can read and throw. But then when we found out all these other flavors and we found out all these other neat little wrinkles that we could do, to me it almost seems like people got away from stick draw. Now I still think a bunch of people throw stick and spacing concepts, and that idea is still out there, right? But in this past year, I don't know if we really saw stick draw as an RPO one time. Used to see it a bunch. We used to see it a lot, and when 5, 6, 7 years ago in the early days of RPOs. But I think sometimes what happens in football, and kind of my point here, is on both sides of the ball, we get some really good theories that we like, and then when we feel like the offense or the defense catches up, or when those theories start to evolve, like Sims and creepers, right? And the first time you said, man, if we bring the nickel off the field and we drop somebody else, that was the original creeper, right? 3-4 defense, you constantly bring in the jack or the rush weak. Well, all of a sudden we swap it and we bring the nickel from the field, slant the front the other way, drop the rush. Like, to me, that was one of the original creepers before creeper was probably ever even a word, right? But then when all the other creepers came in and said, man, if we mug and we line these guys up here and we do this and we do that, so many other good ideas, and it's human nature, right? You get these new ideas in your brain, you're hung up on these new ideas, so all your old ideas go out the window. Well, to me, that's still a very good football play. That would challenge our defense every day of the week. All right, it would challenge us to make sure that we've got runs fitted and we've got the stick fitted and we can play the bubble or the shoot route to the flat, and we can make sure we can defend the over the top, and we got to handle the access backside. To me, that was one of the original plays that had a lot of built-in answers, was very good against a lot of different looks. All right, and I think it's kind of gone away because we've gotten into a world of multiple RPOs and single-side RPOs and two-man side RPOs and pipes that we're throwing down the field. And, the RPO game is so good, it's evolved so far, that I think we've kind of forgot about all those base techniques, right? So sometimes I think in football, as coaches, we get in a habit of when we find out new stuff and we find new things we like, we kind of gravitate that way, and then we forget about the things that we actually started with. We forget about the things we were actually really good with as base plays. All right, so hopefully this video helps you guys out. I know stick draw is not new. I know that a lot of you are out there probably running it. You're probably running it really well. It's just, in my opinion, as defensive coordinator, I have not seen it as much anymore. And when I watched a college game, I don't think I see it as much as I used to. It used to be a staple. Now, I know this play's out there, so somebody's going to get on here and say, hey, Coach, they run it, they run it. Yeah, I know it's still out there, but I think it's gone to the back burner with all the RPOs that are out there nowadays. I think stick draw has kind of gone to that, hey, that's too simple. That doesn't work anymore. Let's go to all these fancy RPOs. All right, so if you're not a subscriber, please turn on that subscribe button. If you ring the bell, turn the notifications on. Every time we do a video or every time we go on YouTube Live. I was on YouTube Live Saturday night talking a little bit about the future of clinics and what I would like to do with clinics. So make sure you turn that notification bell on. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you like the videos. Leave a comment. Any comment you leave, I will make sure that I try and respond to. And then if anybody's interested, I think during the off season, I'm going to start doing some Zoom clinics, some weekly clinics where your staff can get on. We'll keep the price relatively cheap for staffs to get on, and you can have 3 or 4 guys on or 1 or 2 guys on, and we can do it an hour at a time. We can do it 2 hours at a time, and we'll do it through Zoom so I can share my screen and I can take you guys through what we do, what we're trying to do playbook-wise, film-wise, but then also we can get it to where you might be able to share your screen and I can take a look at what you're seeing, what you're defending, kind of getting into the consulting mode a little bit where obviously all this information is out there. I'm trying to provide videos all the time to help people out, but I've got the time right now in the off season. I'm not a head coach anymore, so I would like to be able to spend more time one-on-one, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, whatever it is with your staff, just me in the room, in a Zoom call. You can ask all the questions you want. We don't have to worry about it being a public setting. Now we can break it down the way we want. So if you're interested in any of the Zoom stuff, any of the consultant stuff, let me know. I'm going to try and figure out a way to set it up to where we can do 1 or 2 a week on certain nights at certain times, and then we can set up a schedule where people can sign up. And again, we'll keep it relatively cheap for coaches and staffs. Obviously, I'm a coach like you guys. I know that coaches don't have money all the time, so we'll keep it as cheap as we can keep it. But want to get out there and do some consulting. I want to help individual programs. I feel like the YouTube site is great to help in a lot of different ways, but after the board session, you never really break it down. I feel like the Zoom would be more consulting breakout sessions where I can actually get involved with the staff and talk about, hey, where are you struggling? What are you doing? What's going on? So that's the next step in some of the things that I would like to do. And then maybe some weekly clinics where I get guest speakers to come once a week, and we Zoom a weekly clinic for a cheap fee where guys can listen to a speaker for an hour and a half, and you can sign up and we can do it through Zoom. So got a couple of those things going on that we are trying to work on and get PlayFast out there to be more productive, to help you guys out in ways that we can, and to make myself more available to you guys in any ways that I can. So again, thanks for everything you do for me. Thanks for everything you do for PlayFast. If your off season is now underway, I hope everything's going all right. I hope you are researching. I hope you're out there doing some 7-on-7. Hope your weight room stuff is going great right now. That's the big part right now. Weight room, team culture, you know, what you're trying to do in the locker room, all those things are huge right now. So hopefully that's going all right for you. Hopefully the weather's good where you are. We have a stretch of about 8 or 9, 85 to 86 degree days here in North Florida, so it's been absolutely beautiful. And I am currently working on possibly, if not 23, the 24 PlayFast clinic, and then looking at doing multiple sites. So a lot of things on the horizon, a lot of things down the road, a lot of things we're looking at, and a lot of things we're looking at were based off of suggestions that you guys had, so I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Remember, you won't play well till you play fast. See you guys next time.